All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Radio. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. This is episode 187. My guest tonight is Mr. SPICER McLEROY. You might notice SPICER from the chat. I wonder if he's going to be in the chat tonight, because he's going to be on the show. He's a man of many talents, though, so maybe he will. You know, you could talk to you guys in the chat, talk to me from the chat, talk to me from, face-to-face. We're going to be talking about 3D art and computer animation. SPICER's been doing something really cool with King Cryptid. And it boggles my mind. So I have many questions for him about how he acquired such skills. And also what his plans are for the future in terms of what he's doing with this King Cryptid animation he's got. So it should be a fun show. Before we bring on SPICER, I just want to say one thing here. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Only 7 more channel members needed for us to unlock another chat emoji. So if you'd like to become a member of the channel, you can join today for just 99 cents a month and get us doing that. So there's the link to join and become a member. You get access to like 100-something member videos too. Like they're exclusives from way back when. All the open mic Mondays and Wednesday shows as well from years gone by. But what's up, Bretsky the Great? What's up? Thank you for being here tonight. Citizen Ronan's in the house. What's up, Citizen Ronan? We got What Geeks Do Network here as well. What's up, What Geeks Do? Says, hey, Pete and SPICER are actually awake to catch the live show. Yeah, the 10 o'clock slot. I know. Like you told me before, the half hour, if we can do a 9:30, it makes a difference. I feel you. So we're going to have, I scheduled this show with SPICER a few weeks back, but we're going to have a lot of different shows throughout the course of the month at 9:30, and I'm going to try to see if we can get nestled into a 9:30 slot. Moving on. I think that's the best of both worlds. Let's see, Unstable Molecules, what's up? Aloha, Unstable Molecules. Cole King, how's it going? Cole, thank you for being here tonight. Leo David, what's up, Leo? It says SPICER hype. Yan Zhao, thank you for being here tonight. Hope you're doing well. We got Elk of Antioch here too. What's it going? What's up? How's it going? It says I was going to subscribe, but I forgot I already subscribed. Check it. You might not be subscribed. YouTube has been, I don't know if it's YouTube to be honest, but it's weird. It'll be up 2, down 2, up 2, down 2. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Takes a second or two to check that. I don't want you guys missing any shows just in case. If you unsubscribe for any reason, it is what it is. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Arthur Elmet, what's up, Arthur? Hope you're doing good. Thank you for being here. We got TJ Rex as well. What's up, TJ? Chris Six Strings. How's it going, Chris Six Strings? Hope you're doing good. All right. So without further ado, let's bring him on here. The man of the hour. From chat to guest, Mr. SPICER McLEROY. What's up, SPICER?
We're moving on up. From the chat to the screen. What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
Good to have you on here, man. I'm looking forward to talking to you tonight.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure being here, man. It's truly an honor. You've had legends on this show, and I can't thank you enough for everything you've done, like, on this show, because when I was writing my comic book, like, you said something to me that threw out all of my scripts, and it was for the benefit. I'm sorry. And it was like, you got to have something done by the end of the issue. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to do 5. And then everybody's going to be like so hooked and all this stuff. And I read it again and I was like, this is really bad. So I like started all over. And then now everything has something happening every issue. So yeah, for that,
nice.
You got a King Cryptid sculpt. Mm-hmm.
Well, yes. I'm sorry to put you through that, but It's better to
for the
learn.
better.
Yeah, before you get deep in the creative process and you're on issue 2 or 3, and then you're like, oh no, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening yet.
Yeah, we're on issue 5, and I was like, oh man. Yeah, it was really bad, but yeah, now everything's totally in order in terms of the writing, and yeah, like a lot of things that you've said on here have helped me in my writing, and yeah, I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, man. Fantastic. Good. Man, well, and, I got to point out, great looking hat.
Oh yeah, it looks pretty good on me. I gotta say, it looks pretty good. It's got some history, that's for sure. Yeah.
I appreciate you representing tonight. And yeah, Tyler James says, damn, Spicer looking sharp. Look at that. All right. Now, I got to ask you, in terms of this stuff, now I'm out of my depth with the 3D stuff. 2D, I'm very comfortable. It doesn't look like it, brother. It doesn't look like it. How'd you get involved in all of that? What is your background with that?
Well, I always wanted to be a comic book artist. So, like one of my first memories, my dad got me an Incredible Hulk comic book. I think it was like from a Target or something. I was like maybe 3 or 4. And then like all the way home, he had the overhead light on so I could read it. And you know how dangerous that is whenever you're driving. But, like my son's into comic books. He was like really, really happy about that.
That's great.
So, yeah, I just started drawing from like age 7. And I was just always wanted to be a comic book artist. But I could never consistently draw faces, right? Like they were always like just off in some way. And, but I just kept drawing, and then I became a musician for a while, and that's where I really learned to like practice. And like, you're not going to get it right the first time. You need to practice hours and hours and hours and hours. And music was really, really helpful for that. And then found CG, and I was working at a bank, and some guy just came in, and we just started talking about music. He's like, oh, well, I want to learn how to play the guitar. I was like, well, I want to learn how to use Photoshop. Let's trade. So he would give me lessons in Photoshop. I would give him guitar lessons. And then this like scraggly little guy just comes out of the dark in the back. And I was like, who's that? And he's like, oh, that's so-and-so. He does all the 3D stuff. I was like, what? And I went over there and I was like, hey, what do you do? And he was just, like in his little dark corner and everything and going off. And I was like, oh, I really, really want to get into this. Like, what do I need? And he was like, he just gave me a bunch of discs. I didn't know what it was, but it was like every program needed for like 3D.
Wow.
And that's how it all started. And I was really, really bad in the beginning, like most people are. But I was I'm going to try a Frazetta. I'm going to try a Frazetta painting and put that into 3D for my first time. Did not work, but I was hooked.
Man, you went to the top.
For sure.
Around what year was this?
Like 15 years ago, like 2009, 2008. Yeah, like ZBrush is what I use mostly, and they were transitioning from just like this small little program to like worldwide. After that, it was like version 2.5, and then it went to 3. And then that's whenever it just like exploded and it became like an industry standard. So like every movie, every game, like unless it's like very low poly and it looks very blocky, it's used ZBrush for sure. So so that's why I use ZBrush, Blender, getting into Cinema 4D, and then Unreal Engine is kind of like where the future is right now, because you can like simulate light instead of like it's like ray tracing instead of like simulating actual light. So you can do things really, really quickly that would take a very long time to render like in a traditional program. So yeah, that's kind of like where I'm going right now.
Holy smokes, man. Everything you just said, I'm trying to catch up.
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of stuff on my screen if you want me to break it down or anything like that. So,
yeah, we could do that in a little bit. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a preference with programs or anything like that? Does it work at all like that, where you'd rather work in one than the other?
Yeah, there's so many programs out there. Like if you don't know if you want to get into it or not, I would definitely suggest Blender. Blender's totally free, and like all you have to do is how do I blank in Blender, on YouTube, and there's a tutorial for it. And so you can watch tutorials from like 5 years ago to like a month ago on the subject. So I would start there if you're getting into it, and then if you're like, yeah, this is something I definitely want to do, then you can start pulling in other programs like ZBrush, or definitely Unreal. If you have Blender, ZBrush, and Unreal, you're unstoppable, for sure.
So when you first showed me what you were talking about, what you had created, you were talking about it being like a sideshow statue. And you had sent me this thing that was like the scene of him kind of jumping over like a log, and there was a moon in the background. How do you get that going? Do you make that into statues? Like, have you done that before?
Oh yeah, that's like my bread and butter. That's what I did for a long time before games. So I just do collectibles. So you just like sculpt it, put it in pose, do all that stuff, make it watertight, print it, and then send it off.
So does that get 3D printed? Is that how that works?
Yeah. So it becomes like an STL file. Basically, like you'll have the sculpt, and you'll have to hollow everything out, or else it'll be very, very expensive to print, and you might damage your film, which is like you have this vat, and you pour in all the resin, and then it like peels it off of this film each time. So if it's solid, it's going to really, really warp that thing and get really, really loose, and then your prints start failing. So like, say you have a cube, the inside of the cube would be hollow, and you would have a big hole so that all the resin could drain out as you're building it up and as it's printing. So yeah, there's like a whole process to kind of get it ready for that type of production.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm so out of my element with all of this that I don't even know if I'm asking any of the right questions whatsoever. So if you want to lead the conversation at any point in time, please feel free.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, no worries, no worries.
So I'm gonna come into this. I'm not playing you here. I'm not doing like the infomercial person that doesn't know what the hell's going on and playing stupid. I am playing. This is legit. I'm so stupid about this whole topic. I'm very I'm fascinated by it. Because it seems like the technology to do what you're doing with the computer graphics and the animation side and the digital side of it is really coming to a fore with bringing a lot of this stuff to actual three-dimensional life. And because when you first showed me that, and you were saying you were going to make like a statue or something, I'm like, does this guy work for Sideshow? Like, how is this going about? And I was like, man, I don't know what you're doing. It sounds like it's going to be awesome, but I had no idea what the heck was really going on, other than it looked really cool. And then you started kind of coming back with, I don't want to call them like sketches or anything like that, but I guess they're almost like the equivalent digitally or 3D wise, where you're coming up with these sketches of the character in a way to build it up, and sending me the progress of that, and just entirely for fun. I just want to let you guys know this has just been entirely a back and forth kind of fun thing. I'm completely down with Spicer doing this, and if he wants to make a one-off or whatever for himself, that's perfectly fine by me. But how did you go about, you created that thing that was going to be a big statue piece, and then you decided you were going to almost kind of go back to the drawing board and create this figure that could be posable. What was the differences between the two?
So the one that I initially sent you was like the concept, right? It was like, this is kind of like what I want to do. I want to put him in an action scene. I want him to feel like he's going towards something, and he's leaping like off a mountain to kind of show that he's like superhuman, that he can kind of like take that type of like leap and impact, and he looks very confident while he's doing it, so there's like no fear at all whenever he's doing it. So that was kind of like the concept, so I could understand King Cryptic, because I've been wanting to sculpt him for like half a year, but I've just been so busy I couldn't.
Oh, no way. Wow.
Yeah, like because I was watching the first time I saw you was on Comics Pro Secrets, and you're sitting and you're quiet the whole time, and I was like who is that guy? And I was like, just finding anything about comic books, who was creating comic books, I just want to learn. I'll listen to anybody, right? And so then I started watching your show, and then you had a lot of really, really good information and really good tips, and I was just asking questions, and you were very thorough with it. And I was like, well, let me check out this comic book, see if he's actually if he's just talking or can he actually, like do it as well. And then I got the comic book, and 5 pages in, I was like, I'm hooked. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened in these 5 pages, but I am hooked on this character, and I'm like rooting for King Cryptid to succeed for the rest of the issues. I don't know how you did it, but like the only other time that's happened is like with like a manga. What was it? Kaiju number 8. I was just reading it, and then they always have this like moment where the character makes that decision to not be a loser and to be a hero, and like whenever flip the page, it's like, oh my god. It's just like that dopamine hit whenever you get that page flip, and that's the only other time that's really happened to me. So when it happened with King Cryptid, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to get this character because he's kind of like Batman. Almost, he reminds me of Batman. Like, you could put him in very brooding positions. He could be like hanging on a tree like Batman, like all these things. Batman's like my favorite. So I was like, oh, like
Batman wishes he could be King Cryptid.
Right, there you go. So, there you go.
Batman's like, I gotta get in this outfit. I gotta do these things. I gotta, make people think I'm this gothic, mythical creature. And King Cryptid's like, bro, I'm just that every day.
Yeah, I was born this way. But yeah, so he has a lot of potential to be like. To do anything with him. You can make him very friendly, you can make him very nice, you can make him brooding, you can put him in the dark, you can do so many different things with him, and
wow,
that's
man,
really
I'm honored that
like,
you've felt that way about the character. Jeez.
Oh yeah. It's really good. And so I was like, well, this is going to be a really cool character because I haven't had a lot of experience with like making fur and all of that stuff, and I was like, okay, well, I got time now, so let me bust this out. So yeah, I sent you the statue, and then I basically chopped that up and then made like what we call like an A pose character, which is what you would do for games or movies, so that you can put like a rig in it, which is kind of like a skeleton, so you can like animate it and close the hands and express it and all that stuff. So if I would have done that with him in pose, it's going to be very, very difficult with all the technical stuff that you got to do. So that's what you saw was the concept sculpt, and then we went into like production. And so when we go into production, everything's very straight, so we can rig it, we can texture it, we can do all these lights and everything, and we can do a whole lot of look dev. So
about how much time did it take you to make that statue concept piece, and then how much time has it been taking you to do the King Cryptid posable figure?
I would say if it was like 8 hours a day, it would probably be about 3 weeks for the sculpt for like the statue, and then if we're saying like 8 hours a day, then probably 4 to 5 weeks on the production model. Yeah.
Oh my lord, man!
Yeah.
Holy, I am touched, and I gotta send you some kind of bonus thing. The next time I'm shipping something out to you, I'm gonna send you a. That's incredible.
Send me
man.
that hat, bro. Send me that hat. That's what you need.
Why everyone wants my hat? I'll put on like one of the other hats I have that's new for like a second.
Oh,
and I'll take a picture and I'll be like, "This is the hat I'm sending you." Here you go.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go.
The hats I have, they're like.
Everybody wants that hat. Everybody. Yeah.
Man. Well, you could actually get this one on the Alterna site, but not this actual one. This one's mine. It's weird how many people want the hats I have that I wear. So
you should be a hat model. Yeah.
To get back on topic, as far as the texturing goes, that really stands out to me with the fur and the hair and everything like that. I don't know if you want to share your screen, if you want to share any images or anything like that to kind of show people what I'm talking about too at home.
Yeah, let me okay, share screen. And
Yan Zhao, I got King Cryptid beanies. They're in production right now. And as far as the hat goes, you can get like the patch, and you can get they sell hats everywhere now with the Velcro patch thing. So some people have been asking for different colors or different kinds of designs, but you can go like Amazon or wherever else and pick them up. Let's see, Spicer's got this up. Okay.
Yeah, so this is ZBrush. This is a program we use. So like you can go in here.
King Cryptid at the spa.
Right.
Waxed.
So generally we have something. This is kind of like a low poly model, right? This is what we would refer to that. So what we need to do is we need to sculpt things on it. So to do that, we have to multiply that subdivision, right? And so now we can kind of move it, we can kind of sculpt it, we can do all those things, and then we can continue subdividing it and continue getting that resolution and sculpt more and more and more, right? And so that's kind of like where we are with this King Cryptid. So we have a very low poly cage right here, because if we're going to put this in like a game engine, we don't want a lot of those squares, because it's going to take a very long time for things to process, and you're going to have very slow frame rates, and it's going to feel very like stuttery whenever you're playing the game, and that's very, you know, uncomfortable feeling to have whenever you're playing video games. So that's the reason that they put it down to something like this. And then what we do is we just add more and more subdivision. Probably gonna take a while. Yeah. So we add more and more subdivision, more and more detail, and then we just start going even to like tertiary details, and then we start getting into like the super fine detail. So like you put in all these veins, all these muscle striations, all these skin pores and skin wrinkles were done by hand. Yeah, some glitches here, but it's gonna be covered by fur, so I didn't really care. But yeah, if you want to know what King Cryptid looks like shaved, this is what he looks
Yeah,
like.
there you go.
Yeah, but yeah, like with color and everything, yeah, something like that.
Wow. Mm-hmm. We got a couple questions here in the chat about what brushes do you use. Was that something to divulge into? I don't even know.
Oh no, that's kind of like a let's see, for
it's like
the
secret
brushes.
Sauce.
It's like there's a Kim Jung-gi, and he's like a really famous drawer, and he can literally draw with any pen or anything, and he always gets asked like, what pen do you use? And it's like, it doesn't matter what pen I use. It's like, am I drawing? But yeah, for like brushes and stuff, it's just standard brush, clay buildup, move, and I use XMD Toolbox, which has like hundreds and hundreds of brushes for anything I could ever need. So, but generally it's like standard move and clay tubes. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I haven't changed your fingernails. I know that's a stickler for you. But
I'll
get there.
They're more like claws.
Yeah, because I thought that was only whenever he was in like the beast mode. I thought like the claws came out whenever he like lost himself.
It's kind of like Thundercats.
Mm-hmm.
Where like that's just like their hands always have like that clawed look to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Some artists make them more pronounced, like Kier makes them more like these pronounced fingernail sort of things. Mm-hmm. And then Christian and Nick make them a little bit more like it's kind of part of the fingers and the part of the way the hand is shaped. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like seeing all the artists bring in their own interpretations, because where it's a cryptid book especially, I love the aspect of, even though there's a continuity and consistency, there's little subtle differences here and there with what they're doing. So I understand where you're trying to come from, and you're making like this definitive sort of look, which is why it's kind of cool to see you tackle this, especially in 3D.
Yeah. So hopefully, like, I can give you turnarounds and stuff. So if you need like need that for whatever production, so you can keep consistency or whatever, just let me know. I'll shoot that over.
Now I have to ask, and before we get into like the fur part and everything else, you keep talking not just now but also privately about game usage and stuff. Don't tell me you're working on some kind of a game.
No.
Okay.
I don't know how to make a game. I know how to make things for games, but I don't know how to make a game.
I don't want to like in 2 years you're like, hey Pete, here's the bill. I made this video game for you. I'm like, wait a second.
This is kind of like a thing to really learn Blender and learn all these different programs, so I can kind of understand it, and then I want to get into Unreal for like a short, like, I mean, every second of animations to like $250 if we're gonna be like outsourcing that. So like something 5 seconds, maybe just like him walking or something. Ideally, what I would like to do is like issue 2, because it's like the wolf, it's him, it's the granite beast, and a cave and a forest. It's very like it's in terms of like production, it's very small.
It's a pretty close set.
Yeah. So like that would be the easiest one to tackle of the 4 issues that are out. But yeah, that would just be so much time. Like it's just, especially a one-man show, it would just take a lot of people or one person a lot of time. So
yeah, that's so. I mean, that's what the comic is for.
Yeah.
And imagination. But sure. what you're doing here, okay, let's get to the fur part, because that blows my mind. I mean, how is that coming about? How do you get the texture and the fur and the hair? I mean, I'm zooming in on the image that you had sent me when he was kind of standing there like in a fight pose, and you could see like the single strands and everything. I'm completely blown away by it.
Yeah. So this was like the concept sculpt that I sent over to you, that I kind of wanted to like put together, and then we're like, well, let's adjust the pose, and I was like, damn it, because it's like stuck this way, right? So I was like, well, if we wanted to change the pose and do a bunch of stuff, I might as well make it into something production ready. So that's whenever I started putting him into this and started sculpting him out, right? And then we started putting fur on him and started testing things. I was learning this at the same time that I was doing it. Oh, wow. So we went through that first like backyard bumpkin like beard that he had first, and then I looked at issue 2. It's Nick Hunter, right? I just want to make sure it's right.
Yep.
Nick Hunter. And then I saw his, and his is very it's very flowy, you know, like with that. It's not very like bushy. And so then I started doing this. But basically in Blender, you just select the mesh, you put in empty fur, and then you tell it where you want fur, and then you tell it how long it is, if you want it clumped, if you want it frizzy, if you want it to roll, if you want it to do all these things. And there's sliders for each one and all that type of stuff. So it's become a whole lot easier than it was back in the day. And these are just progression shots that I would send back and forth to Pete. And this is kind of like towards the end.
Hold on, I'm going to get the overlay out of here. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And so this was kind of like towards the end of what we're doing. And this is like with all the fur on.
Yeah, that's incredible, man.
Yeah, it was super fun to do, like just learning all this stuff. Like, I don't know about you, but like when I get bored, I just go find something new to learn. And then it like reinvigorates me, and then I'm good to go again. So
totally. We got a couple questions in here too about what program do you use?
Yeah.
Like what's this one right here? I know you mentioned them before, but I think some people came a little late.
Oh yeah, no worries. So this is Blender that we're looking at right now. This is for like look dev and rendering and the technical side of it, and then the fur generation. And then I use ZBrush, Blender, Unreal, Substance Painter. Those are the main 4 that I use.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
So looks like you got some Spicer fans in the chat. Says, hey Spicer, great to see you. We miss you on the ZBrush live streams.
Oh yeah, I used to stream for the program that we're looking at, the ZBrush program. I used to stream for them, but then I got really busy. But I'll be coming back, so it should be pretty fun.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'll definitely be showing King Cryptid off whenever I come back.
Go for it.
Just so I sent this over to Pete, and he's like, "Hey, he's looking a little scrawny." I was like, "Well, let's pump him up with some good steroids, and let's get him going."
Yeah, he's got that bulk muscle. He's like, like barrel chested.
Yeah,
and he's got he doesn't skip leg day.
Yeah. And so then I was going through. I was like, okay, I was thinking about putting him in a bunch of different poses, but I was like, I really don't want to, like, it takes a very long time, especially with all that fur, to kind of pose it. And I still haven't figured out how to, like, do it to where I can iterate really, really quickly with like poses. So I was like, okay, well, I know issue 2 is amazing, so let's just start there and just work with that cover issue. So this is like Nick Hunter's in 3D, and this is like the first images I would start sending over to Pete and changing it, and he's kind of like blending into the background. And so I really wanted to like bring him out. Like we're getting this rim light down here, and it's okay. This blue on his hair is looking really cool. He's kind of blending into it. And so then I was like, okay, let me put some fog. Let me put a bright light behind him, and then it kind of like separates him from it a little bit more. And then we got the granite hands and all that good stuff. And then this is kind of like the final image. I kind of want to put a little bit more depth in there. But I
with the water too, it's like blindingly bright.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. So when you have that, however much you want to tweak it for your own sake, it's like a really bright, like almost like if you were to stare at it, you'd have to squint, especially in the cave with your eyes needing to be adjusted to the darkness. But it illuminates the cave. That's how bright that stuff is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that might help separate him too a bit as well. But I can't wait to see how you tackle the granite beast, because you're going to be making him too, you said, right?
Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah, he's going to be pretty simple because I'm just going to use the same body because he has the same amount of digits and everything. So this King Cryptid will just become Granite Beast at the end, so... but I got a few Easter eggs in here just for you, Mr. Samedi.
Oh, what you got? Okay,
all right. We got a little. All right, so this is kind of like just hieroglyphic language, just like invented as I was going. So there's like nothing like really to it, but there's some things in here that has to deal with CBR. It's gonna finish saving. There we go. So we have BLE for Bruce Lee. Right, we got that here. All right, and so we have the beginning, middle, and end. Like birth, life, death, and then we have water, we have ice, and we have steam. He's like be water. You know what I'm saying? All the 3 forms of water. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You feeling it? You feeling the flow right now? Are you feeling it?
Nice.
And then we got all the initials for all the people that did issue 1 through 4. All the artists, and then Peter Samedi right there, PS right there. You know what I'm saying? And then some other designs and stuff just going on, trying to make it flow. But
that's awesome.
Wanted to put that in there. And then let's see. Yeah, and so now we're in Blender. So this is another program. This is where like we would rig it. So this is the rig right here. It's probably going to slow down really bad, but
uses up a lot of memory.
Yeah, it's a really heavy scene. I couldn't like activate all the hair, or else I probably wouldn't be able to stream right now. So yeah, it's really heavy. But
I hear you.
But yeah, this is it in Blender, and yeah, this is kind of like the T-pose and stuff. But the next thing will be trying to take that into Unreal, because Unreal has like animations ready to go. So he could immediately be walking, immediately be running, going to the left, going to the right, all that stuff with like a controller. It's just I got to finish this gig, and then I can get back to it. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Take your time by all means.
Yeah.
This is just awesome to see how you're developing everything, and I can't even understand it still. You've done a great job of explaining, but I'm barely getting comfortable with drawing and painting at this portion of my life after like 20 or so years. Getting into the 3D aspect, especially digitally. I don't even really work digitally on doing art or whatever. I'm more of a traditional pen to paper.
Yeah, that's way
guy.
harder. Way harder. Like there's no Control Z. There's no backspace. There's
I like that. Like, but
so do I. I like that danger. It's like it makes you want to get better because you can't make that mistake. It
and
makes
you got to
make
it work
conscious.
sometime.
Yeah. And those accidents are. I think that's kind of like what's missing from movies. It's so orchestrated and so digital and so clean. Like we can't have a mistake because then we're gonna have to solve that problem, and it's kind of like taking away the magic of movies. Like.
Yeah, the human touch, even looking at old cartoons where sometimes they wouldn't be colored properly for that one frame, Scooby-Doo, like Fred's, his ascot is flesh colored all of a sudden.
Right.
Things
But
like
that's
that.
the charm of it,
Yeah,
Unless you know a human
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Comics Legend says, is there a statue planned for the future? Will you have to go back and resculpt all the fur?
Oh no, I already sculpted the fur once, so now I just need to. If there's a new pose, I'll just attach it to that new pose. Yeah.
With the statue too, and the fur aspect of it is, how would that get
You couldn't
done?
do this. No, you
Yeah,
couldn't do that.
I was gonna
The
say
way I
that's-
did it with like those big clumps of fur is the only way you could do it. 3D printing wouldn't be able. I mean, it would just come out as a clump whenever it comes out of the resin printer. And
Yeah.
So yeah, but there's like there's like collectible fur, and then there's like game movie production fur, and like one has to be solid because everything has to be watertight, and the other one just needs to flow and move and be conservative with its memory usage and processor usage.
How many statues have you made in the past? Have you done any of those? Can you show us any?
No, but like probably I'll be real conservative and say over 15.
Wow.
Yeah, real conservative and say 15. But they're usually did some for Major League Baseball, Dior, Warner Brothers, like a lot of those places that they just want a statue of their characters interacting and stuff for whatever it is that they wanted. Like a lot of the stuff that you do in this business, you'll do it and you'll spend a long time on it, and then you'll never see it ever any place. And it's just like, okay, all right, well, that's fine. But yeah, that happens a lot.
One-offs? Are they prototypes? How does that work?
Yeah, at least for the company that I was doing it for, it was kind of like they were pitching things, and so they would have me like do concept sculpts of all these different things, and the ones that would pass, I would finish off, and they would put into production.
Holy smokes, man! Cole, thank you so much for giving a King Cryptid shout out there, and hey, Spaceman, thanks for coming down from above. Brian Suddenly Old says, Spicer, have you ever built height maps for CNC or laser reliefs?
No, I haven't done that yet. Yeah, like CNC is more like I don't know. At least when I don't know if that's what it's for, but I always think of what's that motorcycle show that was on Discovery all the time, and the father and the son were always yelling at each other. I forgot what it was called.
Was that Orange County Choppers? Is that it?
Something like that. Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, or I don't know. But anyway, that's what it always reminds me of when I think of CNC, because they're always like, oh, we got the CNC machine, and we're printing out all these sharp, dangerous things that will kill you whenever you wreck on this motorcycle. It's just like, all right, cool. All right.
So when you print out the statue, I'm guessing it's all in gray or whatever the resin color is.
Yeah, like
and
the
then
ones you
go
have.
in there
Yeah.
and then you hand paint it. So have you hand painted statues too?
No, I don't do that. No, that's. I mean, I would love to get into that, but just getting it to the print is pretty hefty in itself, But I do appreciate all those that can like paint those sculptures and miniatures. Like I follow so many on Instagram, and they're just like they got the smallest little thing, and I'm like, whatever, man, whatever. That's amazing.
That blows my mind. Yeah, Orange County Choppers.
That's what it was.
So yeah, Spaceman says getting on King Cryptid. It's a blast. I appreciate that. Thank you. And Cole giving a shout out there with Spicer's Art Station link.
Oh snap!
You can go check that out.
Oh yeah, dude.
Man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, as far as the 3D printing and the game construction and the figures, and I mean, I don't know what to call it other than it's just the computer stuff inside the box with the things and the lights. Plug it in, goes on, makes sound.
Right. Yeah.
Use mouse, move.
Right.
Thing make cool picture. That's seriously how I feel with this stuff. My mind is blown. What are you doing with your own projects? I'm guessing you've got your own projects too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Currently, I'm like I said, I'm working on my own comic book, and I'm creating the characters in 3D. I'm trying to figure out a way, because whenever like a comic book is not 3D, you can't put 3D into a comic book without it breaking the immersion of it, because it's so perfect and it's so consistent that it becomes boring. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that in 3D. I used to draw comics a lot. I used to ink all the time, so I've got like a big background with that type of stuff. But it's going to take a lot of experimentation. But I can't draw, especially as consistently as I need it to be for a comic book. So I have to do it in 3D, block it out, and then kind of draw over it and, wonk it up a little bit, so it doesn't feel so digital. And that's kind of like where I am. So right now I'm creating my hero character, and it's for like this other project for this company. The deal isn't signed, so I'm not gonna say anything, but it serves like a lot of purposes. It's gonna allow me to build the world, like it's gonna allow me to build the character, his weapon, get him into Unreal so I can like really understand that. And so that's kind of like where I am. And then I'm just working and twerking. That's
wow, man. Mm-hmm. See, Arthur wants to know, is Blender your first choice for rigging models? Can you rig models in ZBrush?
You can rig models in ZBrush, but it's not going to go anywhere else, right? It's only going to stay within ZBrush. So within production, you need to get things out of there and into Unreal, into Unity, into Maya or Houdini or whatever it is that your production is using to get the images onto the screen, right? So you can do it in there, but it's way easier to send it out to Blender. Like there's like Shift A, rig, human meta rig. Do it, draw it out, put it into place, click the buttons, and it's ready to go. So it's way easier than it was like 5 years ago. You would have to make each bone and title each bone, and there's like hundreds of bones, and if you have it titled incorrectly, the rig fails, and they made it a whole lot easier now.
Wow. What Geeks Do Network is asking, Spicer, do you have a YouTube?
Yeah, sure do. It's under my name, Spicer McLEROY, or Shotgun Scream, I think is the YouTube. I got a lot of tutorials on there for anyone wanting to learn sculptural or artistic anatomy. I do lots of critiques on there for that. That's what I love to do, is like anatomy and teach anatomy and all of that. So there's plenty of stuff on there. If you're looking to update your drawing skills, it will translate over there, and you'll start understanding actually what you're drawing. I see a lot of like comic book artists starting, or they've been in it for a while, but they haven't taken the time to learn and to study. They've just been drawing without like a roadmap. And I would suggest every comic book artist learn your anatomy first. Learn what muscles are where they come from, where they attach to, what they do, what it looks like in every position, because it's going to separate you from the pack so easily. Because a lot of comic book artists I see I'm like, what is that muscle? What are you doing there? And I just wish they would just spend a little bit more time studying how the body works, because that's the only way I'm able to sculpt something so quickly and so accurately. Is I spent like a year and a half studying anatomy on my own, and then like 5 years teaching it. And now it's like, it doesn't matter what position the character's in, I can sculpt it. And
wow, man.
And so like sculpting is kind of like drawing, but you have to draw it from every single angle that you can, And but after that, you don't have to do it anymore. You can just have them do whatever you want. Use it as reference or whatever you want to do.
Incredible, man. Leo says Spicer's anatomy lessons are top tier, highly recommended. So,
oh yeah,
man, oh man. I'm putting the StreamYard link in here in case you guys want to join. If you have a question, you want to come on air and ask Spicer directly, there's the link. So there you have it.
Oh yeah.
What's been the most difficult aspect for you in terms of all this?
Um, I would say for this business, there's a lot of sweat equity in the beginning, right? There's a lot of grind that you have to do. Like with almost every artistic endeavor, you've got like that day job and got everything else you got to do, and you got those precious 2-3 hours at the end of the night to dedicate to your craft, right? And that's like, for a lot of people, that's a very, very long time. And then you may be really good, but no one knows you. And so it's really, really hard to get into the business. And then if you get into the business and you have a bad attitude, then it's going to be really, really hard for you going forward, right? So the most important thing is first your skill, your technique, which is your technical aspect. You can't just sculpt and expect to get into a bunch of jobs. You need to be able to take it out of your sculpting program and put it where they want it. And then your soft skills, you're like, are you a team player? Are you selfish? Are you a lone wolf? Are you a leader? Are you a follower? You know, you need to kind of decide what you are and help the rest of the team in that aspect. Whenever I was leading a team, it was very disjointed. Like everybody was just everywhere and no one was talking to each other. And there's like lots of different pipelines is what we call it, where an asset comes in and it has to go through a workflow so it can go to the next person. And that's kind of like what we call a pipeline. And so it was just like very disjointed, and I just brought everybody together so that like everything that we did was going to go through like very, very easily, and then made sure that everybody on the team had the same level of skill. Right, like, so one person was like really good at making weapons, but someone else wasn't, and I wouldn't be like, hey, I need you to go talk to that. I was be like, hey guys, we're gonna have a workshop, and so is going to give us a lecture on what he's doing, and now everybody's at the same level, right, on that term. And that's the way I would handle my teams, and it seems like everybody really appreciated that type of treatment. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of rambled. I'm sorry.
No, I'm enthralled, man. It's great, and I'm seeing the parallels too with a lot of other industries, especially creative industries like the comic field, and it brings me back to when I had to help coordinate with producing on a film, and that was just maybe 50 people or something, but it made me go, you know what, comics, and I gotta do maybe 2 people to manage that.
Right.
Instead is way easier.
Oh yeah. Yeah, managing people is very I don't know, I study a lot of psychology, and then with sculpting, you also I'm really into facial action coding system, which is FACS, FACS, which is like it's kind of like micro expressions and stuff, but it's basically what each muscle in your face does whenever you have a reaction and what that means, right? Like disgust is always asymmetrical, right? And like whenever you're happy, it's usually symmetrical, right? You usually have those expressions, so you can kind of like tell that type of stuff. And then just lots of failure in terms of dealing with people and being like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I should have done this. And then you can start reading people and how and what they need. Like everybody has a carrot at the end of this, of at the stick, and you just gotta figure out like what that is in a sincere and like helpful way, and then you can kind of guide that artist into the direction that you want them to go, and make them feel, like, hey, I really, really contributed, and I've grown as an artist,
Yeah. It's something I've learned a lot lately, especially as a publisher, but in the past 5 years, that you really can't motivate people. You got to figure out what they're already motivated to want to do, want to accomplish, and then hopefully kind of guide them along, coach them along, cheerlead them or whatever, sometimes get them back on course. But, trying to just give people that motivation and that reason to do what they're supposed to be doing, that's never going to happen. If someone's not already motivated to want to do what they want, it's not going to happen. If you got to give someone a reason to get up in the morning, to live their life, to go and achieve.
That's out of my hands. I can't do that. Yeah, I can't do that for you. Like, and especially in this business, like I have my own like studio where we would do like outsourcing for other like major studios, and like I had no idea what I was doing. I made plenty of mistakes and all that stuff. But whenever like it comes crashing down, it's like very, very, like, what I'm talking about. Like it hurts. like when someone leaves or someone feels like you didn't do the job that you were supposed to do and they didn't communicate that to you, and they just suddenly just start acting differently. It's like, what? Hold on a second, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, wait, like I have consistently been like, hey, is anything wrong? Do you need anything? Is there anything I can do for you? Do you have any questions? Do you need anything? And then suddenly, you know, there's someone else.
You were supposed to know everything that they had going on in their heads.
Yeah.
About
and
how
it's
they
like,
felt with certain things, and you're like,
oh man, and to experience that like over and over and over again, like it like twice it happened to me. I was like, okay, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that anymore. And I can only imagine like it takes perseverance to have that be done to you more than twice, and not just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna be by myself and just do it by myself. You know, like,
oh yeah,
it takes a lot of grit to continue being like, no, I believe in this, and I'm gonna keep going. And I've always seen you that way. You know, like never giving up and always like grinding to the end and succeeding. Like nothing's going to stop you. The alternative is who you are, and this is what you're going to be doing for the rest of time. And it's like it's really, really good to see. And I think that's a big reason why people enjoy seeing the show, just for your perseverance and your focus and how you consistently deliver. Is like that's very rare, you know.
well, thank you, man. Jeez.
Yeah, now you know why you got a King Cryptid model, you know.
I'll take the compliment, man.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm a work in progress, though, brother. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we all are. Yeah.
Yeah. And it disturbs me when I see people who don't really view themselves in that capacity, and I'm just like, you know, hopefully one day, because you can't tell them, hey, look, you know, there's a lot to learn. Don't just give up on learning. You know, once you give up on learning, that's the end is near. You know, so that's what this is all about, is learning as much as you can. Even you started off in the beginning of the show talking about learning and getting motivated and re-inspired again with certain things, you know. Be in a constant mode of learning, and everything, to kind of quote Bruce Lee, all knowledge becomes self-knowledge. So everything that you learn, you have it a part of yourself, and you learn more about yourself through all the other things that you learn externally. You know, but you're never going to learn a damn thing about yourself if you don't think there's anything to learn from anyone else or anything else.
Right.
It's such a bad attitude to have, and I find that that's the core of like that bad attitude you were talking about a few minutes ago, is people who believe they can't be taught, they don't need to learn anything else anymore, they're all set, they're all good, they got all the answers. And then I found over life that those are often the people, though, that when you pry below the surface, they don't have any answers. And it's just like, why don't you, it's okay to not know, it's okay to be vulnerable in that aspect, and you'll learn, and then you can move forward. But I don't know if it's a pride thing. I don't know if it's, you know, you were talking about like the psychology aspect kicks in with management and communication and everything else when it comes to groups. So it becomes exhausting, because every time you got to go into the well and play psychologist, the work grinds to a halt, you know. And sometimes there's a lot of problems that are just beyond your capacity to be able to help, and things often don't go well when it's that kind of a team member on there that's just kind of closed off or whatever it may be. And it's unfortunate when that happens, because there's some very, very talented people, but the attitude is what needs to really be worked on, and unfortunately they're the only ones that can work on it.
I mean, I've had to work on my attitude plenty of times, you know, like it's something, you know, you're just growing
likewise,
up and learning, you know, like learning how to communicate, learning how to lead, learning how to work with others, learning how to work for others. You know, it's a lot of things that you have to get by. And especially for like artists, it's I mean, naturally we're a little bit more like you said it really, really well. It's like when you're a writer and you don't know what's going on, it's very easy for you to like write things into your head of like what's going on, and you make up the story of what's going on because you're a creative writer. But it's totally not what's happening, you know? But it's what sounds great, and it probably makes sense in that little like creative world, but that's not what's happening. So like artists are very, and this is a general statement, obviously, but like they're very sensitive to negative feedback. Like there's words that you can use and tones that you can use and communicate what you need to, very straightforward. But you're just using certain words and they feel like inspired or encouraged to go further, right? Like, and you just learn that from leading a lot and failing a lot. Like, that's really the only way you can really get better at anything. I've seen a lot of artists or potential artists that would quit because they couldn't get it right the first time or the first time in a month, or they weren't, like they compare themselves to everybody else. And you have to go through that. Like everyone's going to tell you not to, but you do have to go through that. And you have to realize, look, I'm just going to do the best that I can, and I'm going to work the best that I can. And I'm never going to be content with my talent level, but I'm going to at least recognize I'm doing what I need to become better. Right. And you can be content in that and be comfortable, and instead of comparing yourself and being frustrated and looking at everything else, all that is lifted off of your shoulders, and now you're calm, you're focused, and you're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, for myself, and I've seen it with a lot of other people too, trying to quantify it down to the two absolute things that you need to succeed. People might look at the skills and the knowledge and this and that. Before any of that, you need the will and you need the imagination. Because if you don't even have the thought and you don't have the will to persevere through all of the adversity you're going to hit, you're never going to acquire those skills. You're never going to get to where you want to be. You're never going to set goals for yourself, because you're going to think, well, what's the point? I'm never going to achieve them. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know how to get there. You're never going to build the competency to build your confidence to achieve anything. So you got to dig deep, and you got to have that. You got to have that imagination to have that brought to life, whatever the heck it is going inside your head, and then the will to see it through. And those are the two biggest things that create successes or failures. And, that whole quote, I think it's Churchill, but with, failure isn't fatal, success isn't final, that kind of a thing. But, and if it's not Churchill and I'm butchering it, it is what it is. But the quote it stands. But that's the thing it's such, the mindset is so important. And like you said, oftentimes, talented, creative people, that sometimes they get so inside their own head, and they can end up becoming their own worst enemy. And if they don't get outside their own head and kind of just breathe a bit and get some perspective from whatever the situation might be, whatever the task at hand is, whatever the skill that they need to learn, whatever the goal they're trying to achieve, and everything just can seem like a catastrophe. It's just, that's the worst thing that you could do, is to sit there and worry about an outcome or fear an outcome that you don't know how that's going to play out. Why go towards the negative? But that's a very common thing, and you got to do your best to break yourself of it. And I speak from experience. I've taken years to
these are
break
things we've gone through. These are things that we've gone through, and it's natural to kind of go through those things as an artist, because like it's so subjective. Right. Yeah. Like someone may be really, really
experience.
sloppy, but they have such great energy. Right. And there's all these little what is it called? They got it, they got that X factor or whatever you want to call it. And there's so many slots to put that X factor in, where you are standing out without having to have traditional skills or technique. And I think that kind of confuses people. It's like, well, he's sloppy and he's doing good, why can't I? And it's like, well, that's because that's him, and that's coming honestly and sincerely from his hand. But you're trying to do what he's doing, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, you gotta do what feels natural to you. You gotta, and it takes, I know it sounds weird to say that it takes a while sometime to figure out what that is. There's some people that almost never figure out what it is, because they spend so much time trying to figure out everybody else and how they're making it work for them, that they never figure out how to make it work for themselves.
Yeah.
But it will take time to figure that out. But that's just one of those things where I feel like we are, in society, we are so actively discouraged from honesty, especially when it comes to ourselves. and being comfortable with not knowing, being comfortable with the things you do know, and being comfortable with learning to improve and learn more and all that other stuff. But it's that honest factor that you gotta have, and it starts with yourself.
Yeah.
You can't just, like the Rocky thing in the beginning, you can't just keep pointing fingers at everybody else and thinking that by pointing out all their flaws and faults and their shortcomings, that now you have none of your own. At the end of the day, yours are still there.
Right.
It's like people when they go on vacation to get away from their problems at home, and then they come back home and there's all these problems still, and they wonder why. Well, because you ignored and distracted yourself from them. You didn't work on them.
Yeah.
So of course they're still there.
Yeah. And it's a hard road, like unless you're naturally talented. And I've seen people naturally talented just stop. Like I've seen plenty of that, and it's like, man, can we like exchange something so I can have your talent, like so I could add it to my repertoire. But yeah, like there's plenty of people that just like I just want every artist out there that's listening right now, you're going to fail, and that's the only way you learn. That's the only way you learn. You do not learn from success. Success makes you feel good, but you don't learn anything.
It reinforces the habit. And sometimes you succeeded, but you did it with a bad habit, and you don't know it until it's too late and it's down the road, and you're wondering, well, why can't I repeat that success? It's like, well, because there was other factors that contributed to that success at that point in time. The least of which was you doing it the right way and the way that you should continue to do it. So you kind of get almost fooled by that kind of success. So it's important. There's so many people that determine success with outcome, and I always like to determine success with effort, because you can control effort too. You can't control outcome.
Exactly.
So when people are focusing on like the final number or this or that or the other thing, that they can see that that's the outcome, that's the goal. We want to sell this many, we want to get this many people, we want to do whatever it is. That's not what makes you successful. What makes you successful and what makes you achieve a good outcome is the effort, and that's the only thing you can control. But that's often the thing where, and I'll see it with people too when they do, and we all did this, especially starting off when crowdfunding was a thing. You sit there the whole time just waiting for the number to go up.
refresh.
Refresh. Staring at it, and you'll do that for like 1 or 2 hours a day, and you're paralyzed by it. And then you start getting in your own head, and you're going like, no one likes it, no one likes me, no one likes this thing, And instead, you could have used that 1 to 2 hours of focusing your effort on getting the word out there, doing something productive with the project, sharing something about it, so it's all these different things, and I constantly try to get the guys at Alterna to focus on the effort. Focus on what your effort is with various things that you're trying to accomplish. Don't worry about the outcome, because that's the byproduct of the effort.
And there's lots of people like that go for years and years and years, and then it's just that one video, and now they got millions of fans, and you've got 3 years worth of videos and content that they can go through. That like it doesn't matter that you're like the most, I don't know, like popular or most successful streamer, whatever it is. It's just like, are you having fun? Is this something you truly want to do? And are you really working hard at it? Like I think a work ethic is something that is very hard to develop autonomously. Like you need like a group. Like I'm very, very, very blessed and thankful to have the friends that I do, because they're very honest with me on my artwork. They're like, I don't really like that, and then we'll have a discussion. I'm not going to be like, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, so what's up? What don't you like? Oh, I don't like this, and I don't like that. I'm like, oh, well, I was trying to go for this. That's the reason I chose that decision. It's like, oh, okay, well, maybe if you tried that. And if we didn't have that open, honest, egoless conversation, I never would have solved that problem, and my work wouldn't have been as good as it is. And so those are the only type of people I surround myself with. Like you have to curate your friend group. Like whenever I was growing up, I had to let go of some friends I grew up with, but just because of their lack of direction and focus and effort. They were living, but they weren't like working at something. it's very hard for other people to understand what it takes to be an artist, because you sit down a lot, you're drawing a lot, it's very sedentary, and it takes a long time. And if someone outside of that is like, well, come on, dude, we're going out on Friday, it's like, well, I got to get this done, I need to finish, I need to be good at this. Oh man, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
and then
the priorities are different.
Yeah, and it's okay to, I'm not saying, oh, hate that person or anything like that, but or even disregard that person, but go find someone that's like you, right? Like
Law of attraction, man.
Yeah. I used to say it with another character, but I'm gonna say it with your character. Okay, it's like, I'm King Cryptid, and I'm not looking for Behemoth or anybody else. I'm looking for another King Cryptid to join my team. Right? It's like, that's the way I want someone to come in. I want that ferocity. I want that same energy that I'm bringing. I'm not looking for any other character. I'm looking for another King Cryptid to join my team, And those are the type of people that I have. Like, I don't want any other secondary. I want like heroes coming in, working with me, growing, learning, and we push each other. Like, we've had, like, if I'm down, they're there for me. If they're down, I'm there for them.
That's great.
We'll honestly talk about it. And, like, when guys get together, we'll just crap on each other and make fun of each other. And that helps too, like, it's, but having other people that are going in the same direction that you are, that are honest and aren't ego driven, find those people as soon as possible and stick with them and just grind all the way to success. Mm-hmm.
I think I got to end the show on that, man. That was great. That was perfect.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah, that's a high note. That's great advice. I love that. I knew this would go this way. I love that we kind of had the conversation that we had in the start, and we find a way to get that extra deeper context and meaning to the conversation. Beautiful stuff,
Absolutely.
Spicer.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate being here. Thanks for everyone in the chat that's here from ZBHO Dojo and LBI. I really appreciate y'all here, and thanks for having me, Pete. This is truly an honor. Thank you.
Oh man, thank you. The honor, the privilege of talking to you through this and learning, and oh my Lord, it was fantastic. I'm seriously, I'm in awe of what you've accomplished over the time that you've spent towards doing all of this stuff, and the knowledge that you've shared tonight. I'm incredibly grateful, man, and thank you for putting in all the time and effort into making something so incredible. I never thought in a million years a character that I made would become what it's become in such a short time, and that you've brought it to life in that capacity. And man,
I really wanted to do that for you, man. I really wanted to, because you work so hard. You help people out. You're teaching people, and you're sharing all this knowledge. And I was like, yeah, this is the least I could do for you, brother.
Oh man, seriously, dude. Yeah, awesome dude, Spicer. I agree. Yeah, and thank you for coming on, sharing your work and your wisdom. Seriously, this was a blast. Thank you so much, man. An hour. Now I know why you want to do a 4-hour show.
Here, keep talking, man.
We'll have to. So what we'll have to do, Spicer, I'll have to get you back on 3 more times.
All right.
And then I'll make like a compilation 4-hour thing, download them all together, and then upload them and be like the 4-hour show with Spicer.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So we'll have to do this 3 more times, and I'm a man of my word, so we'll get it done.
That'd be great, man.
We'll get that done. Man, seriously, thank you so much. Before we go, where can they find you? Where can they learn more about you and your work?
Oh, yeah. So you can find me anywhere under my name, Spicer McLEROY. On Instagram under Spicer CG. On YouTube is Shotgun Scream. And Twitter is Shotgun Scream. I really need to brand myself because I'm horrible at that. But yeah, if you just look me up by my name, you'll be able to find me. ArtStation's where I'm going to put all my final work. If you want to see like whips, which is work in progress, most likely that'll be like on Twitter or Instagram. So yeah.
Awesome. Very nice. Well, I'll let Spicer answer that. We're the link to buy the statue.
We'll have to keep talking about that one for sure. Yeah.
All right. So the only thing I have, if you do want to buy something from that's 3D King Cryptid, you can go to alternacomics.com/merch, and you can get the King Cryptid 3D printed figure. There's the Behemoth, and then there's also the Granite Beast that we're taking pre-orders for right now. They're all to 1:30 scale. Let me just actually show those real quick.
Yeah, those are cool. Yeah, when that King Cryptid print came out, I was like, oh man, that looks so good. Looks so good.
Yeah, these have been so much fun.
Yeah.
So on the Granite Beast, I've got the 1:30 scale there, so you can see. King Cryptid's at 3 inches, Behemoth at 4, and then Granite Beast is at 7. Now, we're going to have other figures like that as well. We're going to have Victor Lugo next. He's a Cryptid Hunter. We're going to then have eventually Brug, who's going to be pretty big. He's going to be 9 or 10 inches. He's going to be a 2-piecer. But yeah, this has been really cool to see as well. Arthur Helmet, he was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but he did the sculpt, the 3D sculpt for the Behemoth and for the Granite Beast, and Nick Hunter did the one for King Cryptid.
Oh, okay, yeah. Those look really, really good. I love that King Cryptid and that Behemoth. Yeah, it's real good.
And I want to have this like wave 1 of them kind of standing there, and then we'll do wave 2. We'll start picking characters specifically and get a nice, sweet statue type dynamic pose.
Oh, hell yeah!
On. But that'll be a couple of years down the road. I got a lot of characters to do this wave 1 with first. But yeah, so if you want to pick up something that's a 3D of it, the King Cryptid figure's 12, the Behemoth is 15, and the Granite Beast is 35. So we're getting the Granite Beast into production within the next week or two. But other than that, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Really appreciate you guys in the chat. Spicer, really appreciate this conversation tonight, man.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, far exceeded my expectations. I know you're interested in like the ancient civilization, paranormal type stuff too. So next show, we'll do that. Like I said, we're gonna have 4 hours to film.
Yeah,
so we got 3 more shows to do.
Alrighty.
All right, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow night. I'm gonna have Nandor Fox Schaefer. He's gonna be on the show.
Cool.
I'll be on at 10 o'clock Eastern. Hope to see you guys there. Until then, everybody, have a great night and an even better tomorrow. I'll see you guys soon, hopefully. And until then, all the best.